There you go. Abigail, I'm glad to see you. It's been a while.
All right.
Thought you forgot who we were.
We've been trying to figure out well in the interim, so hopefully he's.
All right, at 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Determine if a quorum is present, and we're all here except for council member Matt Jones. He's absent.
There you
Invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tonight's invocation, we have, Pastor Dwayne Edwards from, Grace Point Nazarene.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this incredibly beautiful day you've given us. What a great gift we've enjoyed today and how you watched over us. Hearts are full of gratitude to you today for that and that alone. Lord, we do pray for the business that's at hand. Pray for the city council, the mayor, the officers that are here in the room, Lord, the honors that will be given out, the promotions, but also we pause to remember the officer down in Conroe who lost his life today, line of duty. We pray for him and his family. I just pray, God, that you would bless this organization, bless this city, and let him remind him, Lord, that all the blessings come from your hands. And so I pray you'll bless this time and in the city, in your name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the United States of Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, community announcements. Items of community interest may include recognizing citizens and staff for outstanding contributions to the community. A reminder about an upcoming event that's organized or sponsored by the governing body, and announcements of imminent threat to public safety that's arisen after the posting of this agenda. Okay.
Honorable Mayor and Council, in the 2023-2024 budget process, Council approved organizational changes that will enhance our effectiveness and efficiency of service and provide support to the backbone of APD, the Patrol Division. Tonight, we are recognizing those improvements and the team members that will fill these critical roles. I'm excited to announce Jeremy Johnson as the next, well, I guess the first Assistant Chief of Police for Auburn Police Department. Very well deserved. He has been an integral part of the success of APD. From the moment we met, we've shared a vision for Aubrey PD, which has made my transition into my role so successful. His desire to build a culture like no other within APD is to be commended. He's dedicated to our team members and cares about them. He and I share a vision for our future. You all know him and the level of professional service he provides the citizens we serve, and that he provides you. He has provided me that same professional support, and tonight I'm so proud to recognize his performance by announcing his promotion to Assistant Chief of Police and his appointment as the commander over the Operations Bureau. And I would like to congratulate Assistant Chief Jeremy Johnson. about one thing. As y'all are learning, I like to read and I expect them to read. And we all learn a nugget from a book, even if we all read the book, we all get our own little nugget. We share that nugget throughout the organization. You get 10 nuggets out of a book, it's a good thing, so. I think great things about this book. So, how about myself? Congratulations. Patrol Lieutenant appointment will be Chance Alexander. He's transferring from the admin. And Lieutenant Salinas will remain in CID. And next, I would like to announce Sergeant Daniel Huerta has been selected to fill the Community Outreach and Education Sergeant position. He will assume command of the Administrative Bureau and will spearhead our community outreach and the training of our citizens as well as our officers. Sergeant Huerta has been employed with the Aubrey Police Department for 2 years as a patrol officer and patrol sergeant. He has prior service with the Graham Police Department and the Denton County Sheriff's Office, totaling 8 years of law enforcement experience. He completed his bachelor's degree in criminal justice in May of 2023 and currently holds an advanced peace officer license. Sergeant Huerta has 3 sons, Lucas, Oscar, and Jamie, and his wonderful wife, Lindsay. And I would just like to congratulate him on his selection. Come on up, I got a gift for you as well. This is a great book. You'll learn a lot.
Thank you.
And then finally, in filling the patrol sergeant position, that was vacated, we had a process and, Ryan Downs has been selected. Ryan. Sergeant Downs is a DFW native and grew up in Mesquite, Texas. He currently resides in Aubrey. He's the son of Andy and Carrie Downs, husband to Jamie Downs, and father of 4, Anthony, Prescott, Denver, and Nolan, which is the name of my grandson. Ryan obtained a bachelor's degree in criminology from the University of Texas at Dallas, where he was also a member of the UTD Comet baseball team. Prior to law enforcement, Ryan was a college baseball coach. In April of 2020, he started his law enforcement career with the Dallas Police Department, completed the DPD Training Academy in February of 2021. With the Dallas Police Department, in addition to patrol, Ryan took part in the Street Racing Task Force, as well as the Strategic Response Team, a problem-oriented policing unit. Ryan joined the Aubrey Police Department in August of 2021. He's been a part of the Field Training Officer Program and assisted in defensive tactics training as a Gracie Survival Tactics Level 1 instructor. His goals with the Aubrey Police Department include promoting to the rank of sergeant, which he's making tonight, and to lead his team in growth and development. He's excited about his future with the Aubrey Police Department and is committed to upholding the high standards set by the command staff and believes in the direction and the vision of the city of Aubrey. And I'm very excited to announce his promotion to sergeant. He's going to do a fantastic job. He also does the same. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. I just want to let y'all know that these changes in our organization are intended to provide improved service to our citizens and our employees. We will be able to provide a more focused attention to our community outreach, more focused management of the patrol division, which comprises the majority of our officers, These moves are gonna make us better now and in the future, and as our department grows, we will be able to provide proper support to those increases in field personnel. Our future is bright. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mayor and council, we have our latest new hire from Public Works here tonight. I just wanted to introduce him to you guys and to the community. His name is Miguel Gutierrez. I'm gonna call him with Miguel G. He is a superintendent in our Public Works Department. He's worked for the city of Denison, the city of Italy, and Glen Heights. He has 12 years' experience in working in water and wastewater treatment, street drainage, and operating heavy equipment. He holds a Class B wastewater license and a Class C groundwater license and a Class A CDL. He has a wife and 4 kids. They range from 6 months to 11 years, so he stays pretty busy. Miguel?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We have several events coming up from now through June. March 9th, we have our annual household hazard waste collection from 9 to 12. And that's going to be at Veterans Park, where you can do bulk, document destruction, electronic recycling, and household hazardous waste. We're also going to have in the subdivisions, Silverado, Winridge, and Sandbrook, the bulk trucks that come around, they're gonna be there so people can use those. And March 23rd, we have our Easter egg hunt from 9 to 12 over at Wilson Field. Dutch Bros Coffee will be there, snow cones, bundt cakes, petting zoo, bounce houses, bunny and peanut pictures. And the egg hunt will be, actual egg hunt will be at 11:30. Then we also have our music series. We added a date this year, so we have April 27th. We have 5:30 to 9. 5:30 is Texas Harmony. 6 is Ryan Anderton, and at 7:30 we have Shane Hamilton. On May 18th, from 6 to 9 is Autumn Raglan and Jarrett Reddick. And June 15th, also 6 to 9, is Peyton Howe and Clay Hollis. And we'll have the usual food trucks, raffles, contests, bounce houses.
At that recycle event, can you recycle oil as well? Like motor oil? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Leanne, I'm like, who said yes? Yes. Items not included are ammunition, fireworks, explosive, medication, and tires.
I won't be taking my ammo up there.
Okay.
Not since that boating accident I had a while back.
Commissioner Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and kind of give you a little bit of an update of the county and what we've got going on. And obviously not near as exciting as what the chief got to do tonight. Congratulations to those individuals as well on moving their career forward in law enforcement. I want to talk a little bit about where some of the money, the funds are going to be spent from our TRIP 2022 bond that we just recently, fortunately, was passed by 75% of the citizens agreed to, which is a large portion of people agree that we have issues with our roads and we need more roads and we also need repairs on our roads. So Aubrey will receive $10 million contributions, and that matches. The way it works is you match with $10 million yourself. And we have a few roads that we've discussed, but I don't think we have 100% exactly where you guys are ready to spend those dollars. And as soon as you are, we'll be ready to get rolling. So we've already got quite a bit going on in other parts of the county. So excited about helping out Aubrey with moving forward as well. Text up projects, FM 2931, the design's underway to widen that to 4 lanes. Ready to let that in February 2026. So basically that should be ready to go, funding, everything should be ready by 2026. FM 1385, design's underway to widen that to 6 lanes. That'll be ready to let July of 2026. FM 377, that's underway to widen to 6 lanes, divided. And that's gonna be September of 2026. A lot of things happening in 2026 supposedly, right? That's the hope. These are all goals, as you know, in government, because of where you sit. Realize unfortunately, those things are not always met, but these are all text up projects. So all I try to do is facilitate, help, and push along as best we can. That's an exciting one for a lot of folks. That 377 will go all the way to the county line. So that's a huge undertaking, but as we all know, the amount of folks moving in, all the developments going on, you know, we're already drowning and it's just gonna get worse. So this is such a huge need in this area. The outer loop, which has been something that it has kind of died down, obviously, as far as the concerns. There was a lot of concerns when it was first mentioned because everybody thought it was coming through their backyard and was going to take out everything they own tomorrow. They thought that, you know, tractors were ready to go. It would be nice if they were ready to go because we're needing that, but that's going to be so far from now. A lot of people won't even live here. But we had our 3rd public input meeting and everything has gone very well, and we'll have another one coming up. Environmental clearance should be complete by September of 2026. See the pattern? 2026. A lot of good stuff in 2026. Okay, the worst one here, Highway 380. Right? Everybody hates 380. I don't blame them. There's going to be TxDOT is coming to do a public town hall, and that's going to be in Little Elm, or Little Elm is who's hosting it basically, but it's going to be at Brazel Public Town Hall is who's organizing it. That's where it's going to be at the high school on February 26th at 6:30. There's obviously been delays, supposedly 3 to 4 months. A lot of it's based on weather, what they always like to use. So we're going to be there to try to put some pressure and get some information and some answers, and see what we can do to push that ahead a little bit quicker. Something else that's real important to the county is the Expo Center. We were fortunate enough to have representative pass a 2% hotel tax, was approved, which will help fund this Expo Center. So the citizens won't hold the bear. County has approximately 200 acres. We're about to purchase another 115 coming up. Next Tuesday will be approved, which will put us at a little over 300. North Texas Fair owns 111 acres right in that area as well. It's right off of 35 at Milam and Ganser, up by where the old truck stop was, that is no longer there. Feasibility study shows Expo Center should bring in $34 million per year to the economic area, which is huge. Obviously, one of the reasons you do these kind of things. It'll bring in 170 events, and approximately 400 employees. That is a huge undertaking for our county. We're one of the largest counties in the state that doesn't have an Expo Center, which is one of the reasons we've really pushed for it. A lot of the stuff ends up going to Fort Worth or somewhere else. When we had the Bass Class Masters here, we couldn't even house them to do their weigh-ins and do all the things that are so important. And a big part of that is because we didn't have a place to house it. They had to go to Fort Worth, which cost our the tax revenue that we lost out on that was great. So this is something that will bring those kind of things to us. We'll be able to house right here in Denton County. So that's exciting. You can go see, you can go to dentoncounty.gov and you'll see under the court agenda some studies and some information about that as well. I think it's really important, real quick, so I'll close up, but I think it's imperative that your citizens realize the relationship that I have with the citizen, or with your mayor, the council, and the other individuals that work within the city, and your city manager. The reason that's important is because we're able to sit down and get things accomplished. We don't always have to agree 100%, but we're going to come to a resolution that's good for the main thing, which is the citizens of Denton County and the citizens of your city. So no one's here trying to pull one over on anybody. I just want to say how much I appreciate the relationship. I don't have that with every single city. I have that with the majority of the cities that I'm responsible for from the county's perspective. And that means a lot to me. It allows me to be more effective with what the people have put me in charge to do. And I really appreciate the relationship that I have here. So thank you guys so much. And I really appreciate it from the county, how much we appreciate your support.
So we appreciate you keeping the communication open with us. We haven't always had that.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Citizen input, couldn't have anyone. Consent items. Items placed on the consent agenda are considered routine in nature and non-controversial. The consent agenda can be acted upon in one motion. Items may be removed from the consent agenda by the request of council members or staff.
Motion to accept the consent agenda. Second.
Motion by Chuck, second by Jeff, all in favor? Passes 4-0. New business, new items previously requested by council members, staff or citizens for consideration by the council. First is a presentation summarizing the results of the Jackson Ridge PID refunding.
So Mayor, Council, just a couple of things before I turn it over to Jim. The next two items on the agenda are related to the Jackson Ridge PID bond refunding. It was a great success. Jim will go over the numbers from a high level. Abdi is here from Unicap. He's going to go over the impact of those on the SAP, the special, what's the SAP stand for again? Excuse me. Service Assessment Plan. So after he finishes, we're going to ask you to approve an ordinance updating that service and assessment plan. Just a couple of things on the timing of the savings. We have some work to do to go through the detail. There's a massive amount of detail all the way down to the parcel level relating to these savings. So we have some work to do with Hilltop and Unicap before we can come up with a plan. We also want to take a look at next year's budget, see the impact on it. Timing wise, we have to have a plan approved prior to the annual SAP update, which is scheduled for the August council meeting. So we have a little time, but we have to get on it and get a plan in front of us. So that's kind of the timing of what we expect to do. You'll see from Jim's presentation that the savings were substantial. They were more than what we had originally thought when we were looking at this in June. So that turned out pretty good. So we're pretty happy about that. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim. I did see his name up there. I did give you a copy of the presentation. Some of the numbers are kind of small. So you should have a copy of that. Jim, are you there?
Mike, excuse me, it took a minute. Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, citizens of Aubrey. I'm here to go over the results of the sale, and I'm going to summarize up front that the execution was better than expected on every aspect, resulting in more savings than we discussed. I'm going to start on go to a summary page, and I'd like to revisit what the outstanding bonds were. When Jackson Ridge was actually funded, there were 4 different bond issues. The initial phase 1 lot contained a full levy for its allocation of major improvements and for the phase specific improvements. Simultaneous with that, there was a major improvement bond issue that funded the remainder of major improvements needed for phase 2 and 3. A few years later, after phase 1 had been absorbed, and the absorption exceeded the benchmarks indicated to allow a second phase, the phase 2 bonds were issued, and that has also been very successful and absorbed. And then a few years later, after that, there was a phase 3A and a phase 3B bond issue. And the 3A, the reason that the phase 3 was split into two issues because the development was owned about 1/3 by Pulte Homes and about 2/3 about Centurion American. And at the time that the bonds were issued, Pulte had completed the majority of lots, or had completed and had contracts to sell to end users the majority lots, where Centurion did not had not moved forward. And as a result, those two bonds were issued. And so we had these bonds outstanding. And I want to give credit to Charles and Mike for bearing with us, because this became a very complex and challenging process. Andre Ayala and Jorge Delgado are two of my team members, and they came up with a vision of trying to make it the most efficient transaction possible. And the way they did that was they combined the phase 1 bond issue and the phase 2 bond issue and the allocation of the MI bonds into one bond issue. So the three bond issues that had been issued to fund the phase 1 and 2, they were able to put that in one bond issue, resulting in reduced costs due to economies of scale, and also because unfortunately one of the prejudices that the rating agencies have is the size of any issuer. And I'm very pleased to tell you that when I made the presentation on January 25th, and we set the parameters resolution, I indicated that our goal was to apply for a rating and to get bond insurance. And I'm pleased to tell you that we got a BBB+ rating. And a BBB+ is really significant because for us to get investment grade rated, all we needed was a BBB-. And so we're 2 notches above the minimum investment grade rating, which is a tremendous compliment. It equals what mature utility districts do. And the reason being that almost 100% of those lots are sold to third parties and paying almost 100% timely on their assessments and taxes. Secondly, that when we did that transaction, they applied and received a commitment for a Build America insurance bond. So these bonds are actually AA insured, underlying rating of BBB+. The last thing that made this efficient was that as part of the process, when the bonds were originally sold, that the reserve fund is fully funded to max annual debt service. And the reason being is when the bonds are sold, there's only one landowner, and there's a potential that one landowner would not make payments. So we have to have a reserve fund equal to the concentration. And since these are diversified now, the reserve fund was reduced to only 25% of the max annual, which still held up for the investment grade rating. On the phase 3 bonds, the phase 3 bonds are only the portion of the MI, and they cover both the Pulte and the Centurion American aspects of this. And again, Pulte is completed, or maybe a few few left lots where Centurion has not fully completed theirs. And so the phase 3A and 3B, they weren't refunded, but the MI allocation of phase 3 was done for savings. And let me say that the 3A and 3 bonds were done in the summer of 21. And the unique thing about them was it was the all-time low interest rates. And even as PID bonds, the 3A PID bonds sold at ranges from 2.4 to 3.5%, even lower than what we're looking at today, where rates are. And the Centurion American bonds were at about 5.4 to 6%. And we couldn't generate economic savings because that, again, is not completed. But I want to say the reason I'm stressing this is that when the concept was submitted by Andre, approved by Charles and Mike, and documented by your bond counsel, the Attorney General did not want to approve it. And it wasn't because there's anything wrong. It's a matter, it's a very complex way. And so I give credit to your bond counsel because it partially was an education to the Attorney General's office about how there's no aspect of this that impedes any of the assessments, no extension of the debt. Everyone still pays pro rata, and it was a matter of just kind of walking through on how this document worked. And so I want to say that from a process, it was efficient. And on the MI allocation of phase 3, we were able to actually reduce the bond issue size on that to about 50% of the reserve fund. And so we took 50% of the reserve fund and reduced the bond issue, but we also were able to get a surety. So when the bond insurer, we didn't have it rated, but the bond insurance company insured it, and they give us a surety for 25%. So it's been the most efficient and complex refunding done of a PID bond in Texas history. And it's really something that's going to be tried to be copied. And so the key point is talking about the results. And the results of the phase 1 and 2, based on the underlying rating and the AA insurance, the bond yield was reduced from 6.95% to 4.1%. The phase 3 MI portion was reduced from 8.25 to 4.3%. In summary, this transaction generated tremendous amount of results. On the phase 1 and 2 bonds, the total principal and the principal was reduced by 1.8 million through the collapse of the reserve fund to 25%, combined with the lower interest rate, reduces the total principal and interest by about $11,048,000, or about 502%. And to give you a feel, it's a 23% reduction on the total capital, principal, and interest on this transaction, which is a tremendous result. On the phase 3 bonds, that interest rate from 8.25 to the 4.3 reduction generated, we contributed 50% of the cash in the reserve fund to reduce the par amount. So we reduced the par amount of bonds outstanding by 202,000. We have almost a 4% decrease in interest rate, and you can see that in that situation, it's got reduced principal interest of slightly over $2 million, averaging about 181,000 per year, or 26%. So no extension of maturity, same payment dates. The savings will be done from next fiscal year to the maturity of the bonds. And again, bond counsel, our assessment administrator, and most of all, Charles and Mike supported and pushed this forward transaction. It's efficient, and we're very pleased. I will tell you that when the bonds were priced, we priced the phase 1 and 2 on Thursday, February 8th. On Friday, the 9th of February, we priced the phase 3. We discussed with Charles and Mike the results of sale, which exceeded the parameter set that the city had indicated and in the parameters ordinance, so they approved it. It's been submitted to the Attorney General, and we anticipate closing a week from today on the 29th. And I'm actually traveling in Florida, but I wanted to present this because I just wanted to say this is a tremendous result. Jackson Ridge was the first project using a PID to take in a utility district that was located and in the ETJ. And now it's a very successful project on a standalone basis. It's investment grade rated. And I think the elected officials and staff should be very proud to see the evolution, and from the original concept to actually motivate and negotiate the annexation of property to successful development, resulting in increased ad valorem taxes to the city. So I want to thank you, Mayor, Council, for allowing Hilltop to serve the city. I would say that this was a tough one, but the harder they are, sometimes the results are better. And as your financial advisor, I'm very proud of this transaction. Exceeded both what we presented and actually our highest, loftiest expectations. And we would recommend approval, which we did. And that concludes my comments on this. And I'll just open it up for any other questions or any other information I can provide for you, the council.
Jim, I just want to say good job for your team of saving our taxpayers $13 million over the life of these bonds. Great work on y'all's part.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Mike, I'll turn it back to you.
All right.
Thanks, Jen.
Item 12, consideration and action on ordinance of the city of Aubrey, Texas, approving an update of the amended and restated service and assessment plan and assessment roles for the Jackson Ridge Public Improvement District. Abby?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. FDSC Community Cabinet Administrator. This basically component in your agenda item is a continuation, basically a reflection of the bond refunding, the transaction that Jim just highlighted. So we updated the amended service and assessment plan to reflect the new bonds that were issued, the combination of assessment structures between phase 1 and phase 2. And also reflect basically the reduced debt service requirements that are attached to the bond. So the main changes in the service and assessment plan are captured in section 4 of the document, which should be between page 27 and 41. And the numbers themselves are reflected in appendices G, H, and I. So that's basically where the savings then and the numbers that Jim showed earlier related to bonds are reflected into the service and assessment plan. So at this stage, it's just reflecting the information that is basically received from the refunded bonds, as Mike mentioned earlier. And as you know, the PID assessment payment is a function of a TERS that is contributed by the city and the assessments that are collected from the property owners. So we also have to go one step ahead and basically analyze how this savings impact the TERS component and come back to you before the summer, before we do the annual service plan update, to basically give you an opportunity to evaluate how we should move forward with basically allocating the savings between the TERS and the assessment that are paid by the property owners. But that's something that's going to come to you as a separate agenda item later. Hopefully you had a chance, well, it's a very large document, so I hope you had a chance to look at it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer some. But like I said, it was just incorporating the numbers that came from the refunding bonds into the service and assessment.
Any questions?
Make a motion, we approve the amended update of restated services and assessment plan and assessment rules for Jackson Ridge Public Improvement District to reflect the issuance of refunding bonds, accepting and approving the updated service and assessment plan and updated assessment rules for the district and providing an effective date.
I'll second, as long as we add in there that we're approving ordinance 824-24.
Yes.
Motion by Randy, second by Aaron, on favor. Passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, hold a public hearing. Consider an act on an ordinance to zone land previously located in the city of Aubrey extraterritorial jurisdiction and having no zoning designation to MF multifamily residential district zoning. Such land described as approximately 55.3 acres of land generally located west of FM 2931, north of Frontier Parkway, east and south of Ackbaum Road, legally described as Pecan Creek Addition Phase 1. Time is 6:38.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This item is kind of a housekeeping item. The property. The property is just off of FM 2931, and it's the property name, subject property is Emily at Pecan Creek. It's an apartment development, and the first phase has been constructed up in the northeast corner of the overall property. So back in August of 2020, the city entered into an ETJ development agreement. And that agreement included a concept plan, development regulations. There were also two action items on that same agenda for a preliminary plat and a final plat. All of that took place back in August of 2020. In that ETJ development agreement, it outlined the opportunity for the city to annex the property and then also assign zoning to the property. The ETJ development agreement contemplated or actually provided for the use of multifamily for the overall tract. So that's what we're looking at this evening, is assigning a property that had been previously annexed. It was annexed back in July of 2022. And the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended this item at their meeting earlier this month. Notifications were provided per Texas Local Government Code, as well as the City of Aubrey's zoning regulations. And you have the opportunity this evening to approve the zoning or deny the proposed zoning. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions on that? Anyone here have any questions on that? It's a public hearing. Anyone on Zoom? What was that? Well, in the public hearing at 6:41.
I'll make a motion to designate the 53 acres at 55.3 acres at FM 2931 for multifamily. So
And that's approving an ordinance.
ordinance, what's wrong with that one? 828-24.
Motion by Chuck, second by Randy, on favor. Passes 4-0. Consideration action on or consideration of applicant's request for extension on a final plat over the Aubrey 377 edition.
Mayor, council, this item and the next item on your agenda are both for the phase 2 development of the retail center on 377 in front of Otter Creek Estates. Both the replat and the site plan are affected by the widening of Highway 377. Both items were heard in February 8th by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Since that meeting, the applicant and the property owner have submitted a written request to allow up to 2 30-day extensions for acting on the site plan and the plat. This extension will allow them more time to make adjustments to their submittal. The Local Government Code Title 7, Subtitle A, Chapter 212 requires municipalities to process plats within a 30-day period following plat applications. With a written request from the applicant and by agreement, a municipality and a landowner may extend the deadlines under the shot clock, which is the 30-day, for multiple additional 30-day periods. The council may approve or deny the extension. Staff recommends that council approve the requests for the two 30-day extensions. And I believe we need to act on each item. So this one will be for the final plat.
So if you'd like to approve this, the motion is going to simply be that you're going to move to approve the applicant's request for 2 30-day extension. I'll make a motion on the final plat of the Aubrey 377 edition to approve the request for 2 30-day extensions.
I'll second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0.
And I'll move on the site plan approval and landscape variance for the Aubrey 377 edition to approve the request for 2 30-day extensions.
Second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Consideration and action on a resolution granting a petition requesting annexation by Pretium Capital, owners of approximately 25.148 acres of land, being the entirety of parcel ID 52100.
So this item has to do with the annexation for lots 1 and 2 of Block A. They have already been developed, so we're moving forward with the annexation on this particular property. Thank you. So this property, we do not have a presentation for this one. It's at the northeast corner of future McNatt and Spring Hill. And the applicants are agreeing to come into the city, and we are working on development plans for them. At the immediate northeast corner, they're proposing around a little over 2.5 acres of general retail. And then the remaining portion is proposed as a public park. The public park is more of a natural type park with trails. I know you all and the city staff don't know at this time the level of detail for those plans. But we have been working with them this week on development regulations and how they see the vision for the development of the property as well as the city staff. So it is just the beginning of the annexation process. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I'll make a motion that we grant the petition requesting annexation by Premium Capital of the 25.148 acres of land being the entirety of parcel ID 52100, setting a public hearing for the annexation. Oh, approve the resolution. I'm sorry. Approve the resolution granting a petition requesting annexation of the 25.148 acres, setting a public hearing for the annexation and authorizing staff to negotiate and enter into a written services agreement with owner. Do we need the date of the public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Jeff, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Consideration action on awarding a contract for animal services within the city of Auburn.
Mayor and council. April 15th of 2022, the city of Aubrey entered into a contract with All American Animal Control to provide animal services to the city. The original contract was for 5 years. The original contract terms were not being followed as required, and the function of animal services was transferred to the police department in October of 2023. This item is a renegotiated contract and will replace the original contract signed on April 15th, 2022. We discussed the substantive changes. The term will begin March 1st and be a 3-year contract. An increase of patrol time by the All American Animal Control of 0.25 hours for every $500 the contract increases was negotiated and agreed upon. Additionally, that patrol time, All American Animal Control is gonna get a new system for monitoring what they do. It should be a more robust monthly report reported to us, which will allow us to differentiate calls occurring in Aubrey and Winridge. It'll allow us to more align that patrol time and make sure we're meeting however much patrol time they are contracted to provide. Section 3BE, a deceased animal impeding traffic was added to emergency service calls. Section 3C added a requirement that routine patrol be clearly documented on the monthly report. Section 3F, the police chief will be notified of any impounded animal. Section 3M, fees were updated. Section 4A, the rate the city pays will be based on a $1.50 charge per household as calculated on the City of Aubrey Republic Refuge Payment Report. Details of this calculation are provided in the contract. We've been using that since October and it's working very well. Section 4B, each March, the rate of $1.50 per house will increase by 3.5% to adjust the rate for inflation. Section 14, All American Animal Control agrees to procure and maintain liability insurance, and the city shall be named as certificate holder. And Section 15 repeals the prior contracts the city attorney has reviewed. Bob is here tonight if you have any questions of him or of me. So, staff recommends approving this contract.
I'll make a motion to award a contract for animal services within the city of Aubrey to All American Animal Control and authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
I'll second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Randy, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Consideration and action on ordinance amending chapter 12, traffic and vehicles, article 12.02, traffic control devices to adopt regulations for stop signs.
Mayor and council, this is a cleanup item. The police department went throughout Winridge and downtown city of Aubrey and documented every stop sign in the city. Worked with city attorney to get them appropriately languaged in an ordinance. And it's gonna be an amendment, so it'll be easy for, as we add stop signs or we remove a stop sign, it'll be easier to replace just the amendment to that ordinance. So staff recommends approving ordinance 827-24, cleaning up the stop sign issue within the city of Auburn.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 827-24. Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Consideration and action on an ordinance amending chapter 12, traffic and vehicles, section 12.03, operation of vehicles, to adopt a new section to establish prima facie maximum speed limits on identified portions of Sherman Drive.
Mayor and council. Shortly after joining the police department, I was made aware of a safety issue on Sherman Drive, and this has been a journey. So tonight, I'm here to, very excited to announce the journey is complete. So basically what occurred is, if you start at 377, coming up FM 35.4, from 377 to Blackjack Road is gonna be 45. From Blackjack all the way through the city until the school zone starts on 428 is going to be 30 miles an hour. It's not gonna go 30, 45, 55 in a 2-block range in front of driveways where people are trying to get in and out of their residence. So I'm very excited. We're gonna clean that up. The school zone will drop to 35 miles an hour when it's in effect, and it'll begin at 45 mile an hour from the beginning of that school zone to Blackjack Oaks Road. And then they removed from this, changing the speed limit from Blackjack Oaks all the way out to Blackjack. And they're gonna reevaluate that and come back with what they set that speed at, but currently it'll be 55 miles an hour from there. Now, this is a big deal. Worked very hard, lots of of meetings and emails and phone calls to go through this. So I'm very excited. And I wholeheartedly recommend approval of this ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending chapter 12, traffic and vehicles, section 12.03, operation of vehicles. To adopt a new section to establish prima facie maximum speed limits on identified portions of Sherman Drive, FM 428, FM 3524. Within the city limits, providing for a fine amount not to exceed $200 for each violation, and providing an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Randy, second by Aaron, all in favor? Passes 4-0.
I tried to figure out how to get confetti to fall from.
Consideration action on a development agreement between the city and Lennar Homes of Texas Land and Construction for the development of approximately 47.3 acre tract of land.
Mayor and council, as you know that we've been working on this development agreement for a couple months. Tonight, Lennar Homes would like to do a presentation for you guys, kind of overview of the development and the benefits to the city. Max Bryant and Annie Hepner are here for that presentation.
Good evening. I'm Annie Hepner with Lennar Homes. I'm our internal engineer and entitlements manager.
Good evening. I'm Max Bryant. I'm the Director of Land Acquisition for DFW West for Lennar. We wanted to thank you for having us tonight, Mayor and Council.
So we're here to talk about Lloyd Ranch. Right now, this is in the ETJ and we're looking to annex into the city. Lennar is familiar with Aubrey, as you're probably aware of our High Point Ranch development that's going on over here, that we're heavily underway on, and looking to move forward on the future phases pretty quickly. You can see our site plan, shown here. We have, it's a total of 47.2 acres, and we have a commercial area that's 4.1 acres in the red. And then we have an open space area of 5.7 acres. That includes the retention pond shown in blue and a dog park shown in green, kind of in the middle. And then there's a city park dedication of 2.1 acres. That's the purple area in the middle. And then the other purple area up on the north side. And then there's 0.3 acres of right-of-way dedication that'll go to TxDOT, shown in blue along 2931. And then there's 0.1 acres for a lift station by that retention pond in the middle. And then you can also see our standard lot configuration, kind of small, but we'll have a 15-foot rear yard setback and a 25-foot front yard setback, and then a 20-foot by 70-foot pad. These are some examples of our amenities that we've done in some of our other communities that we're looking to do similarly here. The dog park shown in the top right. There's a park and playground. That's what we're looking to do for the city dedication area that was shown in purple. And then an entry feature shown in the bottom left. And then the pond example that'll have a fountain. Next, Mac's going to talk about our products.
So shown on the screen here, this is the product Lennar plans to build within Lloyd Ranch. This is called our Welton collection, and it's a one-car garage, two-story home. Square foot ranges from 1,200 square feet to 1,600 square feet. It's 3 to 4 bedrooms depending on the floor plan, and they each include 2.5 bathrooms. The exterior masonry is cementitious fiberboard, and there's several different colors, and this will be what is built throughout the community. Next slide, please. On the 4.1 acres of commercial retail on the front of the property, we have several suggested uses that we've come up with for a parcel of that size. That includes cafes, coffee shops, convenience stores, nail salons, hair salons, dry cleaners, medical offices, or whatever else the city might encourage to go into that property. with our development agreement, we are going to submit for a public improvement district for Lloyd Ranch. Based on our OPC from Kinley Horn, who's our engineering partner for this project, we're estimating total development costs of around $19 million. To make this project more viable for Lennar Homes, we're going to need the improvement district in order to develop this, and especially with some of the offsite requirements required to serve this property. So on the left, we have a list here of the different line items that are going to be reimbursable based on the PID we would be submitting. That includes excavation, utilities, paving, and then hardscape, landscape, and other miscellaneous soft costs. On the top right corner, you can see the city of Aubrey's tax stack today without a PID. It totals $1.91 per $100, which comes out if a home was valued at $296,000, which is kind of what we're ballparking right now, that would be an annual total tax assessment of $5,600. With our PID, we're proposing a 54-cent PID tax, which on top of the existing tax stack would bring the total tax rate to $2.45, which would basically tack on an additional $1,600 a year to the total yearly assessment to the homeowner. And the total there would be $7,200 per year for the same home, $296,000. In total, we anticipate at that average sales price of a home, the additional annual tax revenue to Aubrey to be in the ballpark of $412,000. This slide just shows a typical PID disclosure form that a home buyer would receive from Lennar at the time of the home sale. And then finally, we just wanted to talk about some of the benefits that this development agreement would give to the city of Aubrey. First and foremost being the additional tax revenue from the 300 units that would be built within Lloyd Ranch. And then secondarily to that, we are going to include that mixed use retail corner on 2931, as well as the other hard corner across the thoroughfare, which would be dedicated to the city as well. That can be used for food trucks or really whatever you guys think is best there. In addition to the parking playground at the center of the property, which will be for public use. In addition to that, we're designing this with Kinley Horn to have enhanced landscaping, streetscape, and entry features. So there's a nice sense of arrival off 2931. And with that in mind, we thank you for your consideration on this project.
I just have questions about parking. If we're looking at 3 to 4 bedroom homes and it's a single garage, with obviously a driveway that's a single, what is being done for parking in that area? I mean, is it just gonna be lined of, wall to wall cars up and down the street? If you have 3 bedrooms, chances are you have at least 2 drivers, possibly 3 drivers.
There is a space in the driveway as well, so you would have two, the garage space and then the driveway space as well.
So street parking would be open?
Yes. Yes.
But on your driveway space, that's just gonna be a single entrance driveway space, correct?
Correct, yes.
My name's Greg Herrick. I run land. Y'all did a great job. So I wanted to verify that question. People will probably park on the street. It's not required to be open. But I don't expect more than maybe 1 car for every 3 or 4 homes, which is kind of similar to what you see in residential communities today. But I wanted to clarify there will be people parking on the street. Definitely, but we have a space for the home, and the garage, and then in the driveway too.
Well, with a 30-foot lot and a driveway in front of the house, there's not room to park a car in front of the house.
Well, it's a 20-foot, I think setback, 25-foot setback, so they're just like the standard 2-car garages. There'll be 1 car that can park in front of the home. They would have to move their car.
Yeah.
Whoever's in the garage wants to get out, but there would be a car in the garage, and a car in the driveway. And then potentially a car on the street for certain homes that have 3 cars.
Are they,
Those street parking, you couldn't get it in front of your home.
You could, if we go back to the concept plan, in between the driveways, these lots are 30 feet wide.
And so there is space in between the driveways for the homes to be able to park in front of your home. You'll have enough room next to your driveway to park parallel to the road.
Will they,
Your driveway's 14 feet wide, 12 foot wide? I think it's closer to 10 feet, whatever your regulations would be, but it's closer to 10 feet wide for the driveway into the garage. But the lot itself is 30 feet wide. So if you're facing a lot from the street, you'll have 10 foot, which is driveway, 20 foot, which is your yard and side yards. And so you have about 15 feet at least to be able to park parallel to the road, to the street with a car as well. We don't estimate that most of these homes will have 3 cars. We do believe that they'll have more 2 cars, but there is a possibility that people will park parallel to the street in front of their home.
So I can take you through neighborhoods right now that have a whole lot bigger, that double that size width and in lots, and we've got cars lined up and down the streets. So there's no way we're gonna get cars parked in front of these houses on the street.
It's gonna come to convenience, so they're gonna be in the driveway and in the street. The garage will be full of crap.
I was gonna ask, are they gonna be required to use their garage for their vehicle?
I don't think we can require them to do it, but we can prevent them from converting it to a usable air conditioned room. We can restrict that in the situation.
Most likely the storage. Even if one car could get in there, nobody's wants to park behind that to move it out.
Right.
That's the thing.
Mayor, I'd like to move that we table this until after executive session if possible.
I'll second if it's needed.
All right. Motion by Aaron, second by Jeff to table this for after executive session. All in favor? 4-0. Discussion and provide direction regarding setting a date for a joint meeting with Aubrey ISD.
Mayor, council, good evening. I've talked with the school district with Dr. Saylor, and they have proposed the dates of April 3rd or April 24th. I think both of those are things.
I'm good with the 3rd.
Your council meeting for March will be on 28th. So the following week you would have this meeting.
But the 24th would be the day before the April meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm good with the 3rd. I'm good with the 3rd. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
All right, we'll set that up. Thank you.
Do we have any plans to meet with Denton ISD?
For the elementary.
I'm just talking about half of our community attends Denton ISD schools.
Well, we're looking at, from the standpoint of our ETJ, we only have one Denton ISD school and we don't anticipate any growth from there. They are working on that. I think they're working on some rezoning right now, but it doesn't include anything that's in the ETJ of Aubrey. The Windridge and Sandbrook are the only 2 subdivisions that we'll have that are in the Denton ISD's jurisdiction or area. We do communicate with the area superintendent and we talk about issues for the elementary school. We have an SRO there, but we haven't had a chance to discuss with them having a meeting.
Well, I'm not sure if you know, but Denton or Windridge was recently rezoned for Paloma Creek. And I don't know that there was anyone involved from the city of Aubrey in any of those discussions or public meetings, but it'll be the 3rd time, I think, in 4 years that Windridge has been rezoned from an elementary school. So they will not even be attending Sandbrook, where we have a school resource officer.
I thought that they had worked that out. I was watching that on Facebook.
No.
We can meet with the area superintendent and talk with them. I doubt we would get a full meeting, joint meeting with the school board.
I just want to make sure we're staying involved in what's happening in our community. And thank you.
What time would that, is it 6 o'clock? On the
Yes,
third?
I'll propose to the district at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Where's the meeting?
Oh, it'll be a joint meeting at the school district's Tisdale Audit Administration Building.
They've got a lot more room to stretch out.
We can host next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Advisory board reports. If an advisory board wishes to provide any updates, the name of the board and description of the report will be provided below. Discuss the following: Aubrey Area Library Advisory Board. Consideration and action on removing and appointing members to the Aubrey Area Library Board. I believe Ms. Carter turned in her resignation.
Is she still gonna be volunteering up there?
She's still doing story.
Okay. I regretfully move to accept her resignation from the library board.
Motion by Jeff, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Like you said, regretful. Aubrey Municipal Development District Board, consideration and action on removing and appointing members to the Aubrey Municipal Development District Board. We got one resignation. One applicant.
I move to accept Carolyn Cashin's resignation to the MDD.
I'll second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Chuck, all in favor? Passes 4-0. For Mr. Heitman.
I'll make a motion to accept Tim Heitman's application.
Second.
Motion by Randy, second by Jeff. All in favor? Passes 4-0. And Aubrey Planning and Zoning Commission, consideration and action on removing and appointing members to the Aubrey Planning and Zoning Commission. On that.
Move to accept Nicole Shaw's application, placing her on the P and Z.
I'll second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Randy, all in favor? Passes 4-0. Thank you for volunteering. If you're here. Department updates. Steve, that's you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Brief updates on fire station number 3 and fire station number 2. First with fire station number 3, construction is starting to pick up speed now that we've gotten some decent weather. I know we normally like the rain, but in this one instance, we don't need it. When we met last week, they had already installed 116 of the helical piles and had 100 remaining. Went by yesterday and it looks like those have been delivered and are being installed. The rest of this week should see the start of some fire lane and parking concrete pours. And then steady work on the foundation after that. So they're moving along nicely. If you've gone by there, you can see the work that's going on. It's starting to take shape and you can tell where the building's going to be now. With fire station number 2, we have some black and white renderings now. We should have color renderings on Monday that we can show to the residents in the area that'll depict the fire station layout with the pavilion and the park feature. And everything else is still on track for a construction bid in March. So sorry, I don't have more on that one, but we're kind of just wrapping things up. So there's just a series of questions going back and forth between staff and the architects. They have completed the 50% construction drawings and are wrapping things up. So we're still on pace with that one as well.
The funding for that station.
Hope it came in hundreds, but all right. Wow. All kinds of things. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about either of the locations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor and council, I'm back. Each year we take a critical look at components of what we do. One of those is use of force, and I wanted to share with you a success. Our use of force incidents increased by 38.09% from 2022. That number sounds a lot, but it's gonna get better. Hard strikes decreased by 50%. Conducted electrical weapon use decreased by 100%. Display of firearms decreased by 100%. There were no takedowns utilized in 2022, and we had 10. So in our analysis of this data, we've concluded that the training that council authorized us to provide in jujitsu centered arrest and ground control tactics has worked. Additionally, our de-escalation training is working, and we've reduced the level of force officers use by equipping them with different knowledge and tools. So I just wanted to share with you that training dollars you're putting into effect is having a positive effect. If we don't have to use these weapons, it's a great thing. And although we did more, we did less serious level of force. So that's a great thing. I'm very excited to let you know about. Additionally, the fire chief and I have been invited by the Denton Independent School District to attend the Cheek Middle School dedication. And as our students will be going there, we'll be attending and dedicating that building. So thank you.
But no other departmental update? All right, future agenda requests. Anyone? All right, well then executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, section 551.001, the city council will recess into executive session to discuss the following. 551.071, 1 and 2, consultation with attorney. 551.072, real property. 551.071, 2, and 551.074, personnel matters.
Mayor, I move, we move into executive session after a 5-minute recess.
A second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Randy. All in favor? Passes 4-0, time is 7:17.
Quiet out there. She's writing next week's paper.
We'll can
Yeah.
reconvene in open session. The time is 10:23.
She's drawing us some stick figures and stuff.
We'll start with item 25, consideration and action on awarding a bid for construction of improvements to the community center and library facility at 226 Countryside Drive, Aubrey, Texas, 76227 to Bears Contracting Group LLC in an amount not to exceed $508,588. And authorize the city manager to negotiate the final contract and execute the same.
I move that we do exactly what the mayor just said.
A second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Aaron, all in favor? Passes 4-0.
She had a whole presentation. All right, and Mayor, I move to authorize the city attorney to file suit against the Denton County Freshwater Supply Districts 8A, 8B, 11A, 11B, 11C, and Elm Ridge Water Control and Improvement District for claims involving the Fire Protection Services Agreement dated January 29th, 2007, as amended, and related issues. I further direct the city manager and city attorney to contact the town of Providence Village to discuss potential joinder of Providence Village as a party to the lawsuit with Aubrey.
Motion by Jeff, second by Aaron, all in favor? Passes 4-0.
Motion to adjourn.
Aaron.
We're still on.